Well, the winds have eased up somewhat. Enough so that I think I'm going to go for it here and try to sail up to a mooring. What I'm going to do first is tie a dock line to the loop on that mooring. And then to that dock line, I'm going to tie on a docking fender. So hopefully that'll make it much easier to pick up. If you recall from my last video, I had quite a time trying to pick up that mooring ball with just the short loop on the top. So here you actually have another buoy and a length of line to get at with your boat hook. So basically it's target expansion. It's not going to be too long before we're going to run out of daylight here, so let's get the mainsail up, weigh anchor, and get going here. Well, it does help that the water depth is fairly shallow. It's only about 10 feet. Makes it easier to sail off the anchor and weigh the anchor. However, the anchor was buried under so much mud and grass and so much mud was stuck to it when I pulled it up that the 44-pound anchor probably weighed double that as I was trying to weigh it. So that was quite a workout. And we took off on the wrong tack here, so we got to bring her around on the starboard tack and head out to the mooring. And once again, we got a few wrinkles in the situation. One is this boat, Orion 5, just came in and picked up a mooring right next to the mooring I had put my buoy on, which means that I no longer have as much room as I did. And what's worse is looking over at the mooring, I see my docking fender is gone. There's just the mooring ball, which means that it's going to be, and I can see the dock line is still attached, but the docking fender is gone. I'm not sure why that is. So that's going to be, now with a closed-in area and without the pickup buoy, I'm just deciding to scrap the idea of trying to pick up that mooring. And there is one mooring all the way out that I should be able to get to, because at least on the north side, there are no boats. It's right on the north edge of the mooring field. But it's still pretty windy. But since I got room to the north, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sail up just north of it and drop my anchor and then run a warp or a long line to the mooring with the dinghy and then pull myself onto the mooring. So that's the safest way to do it if you got any kind of room around the mooring. Especially when it's windy like this. It's blowing about 15 knots, but still it's enough to make sailing up to a mooring somewhat tricky. So we're anchored down, but on a short scope. So I'm just eyeing my position here to make sure the anchor doesn't start dragging. Because one thing I have found about spade anchors, it was also the case with the Delta and the CQR, you had to have at least about 4-to-1 scope. Otherwise, any kind of tension on it could break the anchor out.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, it's just one of those days. I thought what happened was the starter cord jammed on the motor. But when I took it apart, there was no problem with the starter cord. I think what happened was the cylinder fired as I was pulling it, right as the piston rod and the crank were in a line. So the motor just got frozen with a huge amount of compression in the cylinder. And I wasn't able to turn over the motor until that compression, until it eased up over time. Gradually, the gas leaked out of the cylinder. If there's any mechanics here, just leave me a comment below if you think that, if you've heard of that happening, if you think that's a likely diagnosis. So I got my warp flake down on deck there, so now I just have to carry the end over to the mooring and tie it on. Except we got another hitch. Literally, the line is not paying out smoothly. Back at the boat, I find out what happened was it got tangled under the solar panels I have on deck. Sigh. So meanwhile, back out at the mooring. We're still towing the warp with us here. And we missed the mooring pickup. You know, it's been a frickin' long day when you miss a mooring pickup in the dinghy. Alright, this time we got it. So let's tie that line on and get back to the boat and get ourselves onto a mooring. Alright, so we're tied on to the mooring. Now we gotta pick the anchor up and take up slack in the line as we pull up on the anchor, because we don't want a lot of slack line drifting in the water. I got a membership at a local gym here in Key West, and it's times like these I think, why the hell did I do that? I got my gym right here on the foredeck and it's free. That's where the old ball broke. It was right here. And it looked like probably the line just chafed right where it went through the ball. So obviously I inspected this one carefully. It seems to be in pretty good shape. But after what I just went through, that's not good enough. So this mooring had some old nylon lines on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these lines and tie one of them directly to the shackle coming off of what looks like a sand screw on the bottom there. And so that's a safety line that completely bypasses the nylon line going through the mooring ball. So just a little extra measure of security there. So now that I think we are finally secure, we can begin our return to normalcy here. And a typical return to normalcy aboard this ship is catching up on varnish work, which always happens after every long passage. Well, I knew this project was coming up in the near future, but now I know this project is upon me, which is my mainsail cover is disintegrating in the sun. So I just ordered a whole bunch of Sombrella cloth from Amazon.com, and it has arrived. So we are going to make ourselves a new mainsail cover. Should be fun. Well, it's Saturday, January 4th. So much for hitting the bars on Duval Street tonight. Here comes the night cold front. The wind has shifted west. It's picked up. West is not bad, but when it swings around to the north, that's when it's going to get rough in here. That's going to happen overnight. Luckily, the forecasts are for these winds to die off fairly rapidly. So tomorrow's Sunday, so beginning to ease off Sunday afternoon. So let's hope that's true, because it gets, especially when the winds are northerly, it gets quite uncomfortable in here. Oh yeah, and Hobie Cat way over there, he's charging.